Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review. This is episode number, I believe it's 58. Just want to be sure about that. Yeah, I think it's 58. 58. This one I'm reviewing the 845th episode of the anime, putting Ablaze, the Seducing Woods. Yeah, I will talk about that soon. And of course, 900th chapter of the One Piece manga, Adventure in the Land of the Samurai. Yep. Let's talk about this newest episode, which pretty much, from what I can tell, just pretty much finished adapting chapter 874. Pretty much it picks up pages 5 through 19. So pretty much, yes. I thought with this episode they might do the same thing what they did with the previous several episodes, where they just adapt like part of one chapter, one episode, and like finish it up. Of course, next episode is like half and half. This one is like pretty much finished up the entire chapter. Yeah, I would have thought maybe they would have started up 875, but they didn't. Nope, they did not. So yeah, they just pretty much finished up thing 874. With this episode, kind of picks up where last week's episode left off, with the spear of Elbap coming down and trying to kill the talking tree, King Boom, I think his name is. And Lebeau's a part of him, but he keeps running because now it brings to the fact of Lady Tree, his fiance. Of course, he feels his fiance. Of course, he runs into the Seducing Woods. Yes, first in the Seducing Woods have actually played a role in an episode. I mean, yes, they did make a brief cameo in an episode when Luffy gets all those other creatures to pose as him. But this is the first time in quite a while. I think this is probably the first time since October since last year we actually had an episode focused on the Seducing Woods. Yep, so yeah, they go in the Seducing Woods, and eventually Prometheus shows up completely out of nowhere, and apparently he's gone basically the size of the actual sun and pretty much destroy King Bloom. Though during the first attack, I should point out though, everybody's been flown away except for Luffy. He was the one to fly away. He basically used his little stretch arm to grab Carrot. Excuse me, and Sanji grabbed Nami, which kind of that does make sense. So, and of course, this one they get off it. Though Luffy is the one who grabs Nami, and Carrot is grabbed by Pedro. And Pedro does do some fighting in this episode, which I do appreciate that. Even while they're running before King Bloom gets destroyed. Yeah, first you have Luffy using his Gum Gum attack to, I think it's Gum Gum, I think it's Bullet, I think it is. I'm not sure which one it is. It's when he uses his fist, where he just basically just beats up a bunch of trees, and then it's Sanji, and then it's Pedro. And it is this really awesome moment when Sanji still has his cigarette in his mouth. Of course, he keeps relighting it, and he's about to take out his lighter, and all of a sudden, Pedro remembers, oh yeah, I can shoot electricity out of my hands. So he just forms like little electricity out of his fingers. He says, and Sanji says, oh, that's convenient. They both just have a cigarette. Yeah, because they're probably like two of the very few characters in the whole series who actually smoke, and it's probably by far one of the most, even though smoking is bad, but I gotta admit, this is a really awesome moment. And unlike with Zoro, who is another swordsman like Pedro is, he gets along really well with Pedro, despite the fact prior to these past few episodes, Sanji has not really interacted with Pedro that much. It's probably not since the Zoro arc. Yep. So yeah, I thought that was a really nice moment, and I had to mention that. Trying to think, what else? Yeah, they continue to run through the woods, and of course Prometheus is still chasing after them. Oh yeah, and also Zeus turns against Big Mom when Big Mom is riding him. This is of course after the spear attack. Nami gives some of her black balls, apparently knocks at Big Mom when she's about to do her second attack, and apparently she offers Zeus to become her servant. In exchange, he'll get all the black balls he wants. Okay, fine. Nami gets on Pet Cloud. By the way, this Cloud is still with Nami even with the start of the current arc. Yep. So I gotta say, really good episode. Next week, it looks like everybody's gonna get into a big brawl. It looks like all the Straw Hat, well, people are part of the Straw Hat at this point, I'm going to count Kara as part of the Straw Hats. Now, those of you now. When I was watching, I'm kind of remember like, where's Chopper and Brooke? Oh, I forgot. Brooke and Chopper decided to take the shark stuff back to the Thousand Sunny. Which, by the way, I love the fact they included the Transpire Snail stuff, basically of Burly, Mirror World. You have Kaduko, I think his name is, the guy with the weird-looking nose, sitting on top of a giant book of all things, coordinating all these texts. Oh yeah, and somehow Katakuri, of course, he snuck on board the Sunny in the last episode. This one, he actually brought along, like, what looks like, from what I saw stuff, it looks like about 20 troops on board the Thousand Sunny, preparing for an ambush, which is probably going to happen in, probably not next week's episode, probably about 2 episodes from now. Excuse me, yeah, but this is a really good episode. Now let's talk about the newest chapter of manga. The Great Adventure in a Land of the Samurai. Starting off with the cover, which surprisingly enough is not a cover story. Nope, it's just some photo, just some picture that Oda came up with. It's a really nice looking thing. Let's see if I can get a good full picture of it. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, it's just basically the Straw Hats having fun. Yep. So it picks up right where the last chapter left off with Luffy and Thousand Sunny. Oh, and also the crew got swept away someplace. I'm not sure where they went. So apparently this is not Wano. I'll get to that in a minute. So he's about to take on these baboon people. And it's revealed what happened to the rest of the Straw Hats. Apparently they got flown away different places, and they tried to grab. He told Luffy to hop on his belly because he can go his balloon form. And of course he's walking about. It's like, where's that Viva card? Not here. And he's trying to look for like the rest of his crew is like fine with Viva card. Like oh crap, he doesn't have his Viva card with him. Like oh well. Yeah. So he basically meets up with this other guy. He beats him up, Karakuri, and then all of a sudden this little girl shows up named Otama. Yeah, this cute little girl who apparently has the ability to pull stuff from her cheeks and feed to the baboon. Even Luffy's shocked about that. And of course, he says, "You are in Kari, big brother." Okay, so she probably, from what I can tell, she doesn't know who Luffy is. And I'll get to how she knows him, how knows who he is. So yeah, Faye is like, okay, so she wants to pay him for saving her life, so gives her food. And of course, they ride on a couple of. It turns out these creatures known as Babumaru and Kamakuru. They come to her, I don't know, looks like her private residence, and pairs her food. And apparently gets full really quickly after one quick rice bowl. And then her boss shows up. Apparently this is I think this is her landlord, or says, "You foolish man." And of course he stopped by Toma, basically says that she actually saved his life. And it turns out how she knows him is that there's a pirate named Ace. Now Luffy's like, what? And then the chapter ends with, this is actually a bit of a shock. First time in a while this guy has been seen, Basil Hawkins. Yep, the guy who's kind of he's kind of like a religious, of all the people who are part of the worst generations, what they call it? I've heard 11 Super was better. Where he's actually the more religious one out of all of them. It's a shock to see him. As to why he's here, don't have any idea. So yeah, this is not Wano. This is probably one of the other countries. This is probably one of the islands that surround Wano. But who knows? Maybe it's just maybe an island near Wano. Maybe it is Wano, but not exactly full reveal. But this was a pretty interesting chapter. Yep, and we're only 3 chapters in, and I'm looking forward to this coming week's chapter, which will be chapter 912. Yep. So yeah, I don't let me check and see about this just to be sure about this. Let's see. I don't think. No, it does not say that it's going to be. It's not going to take a break this week, so there possibly will be another chapter this week, but who knows? But definitely a new episode of the anime, that's definite. But as for if the manga's take a break again, I don't know. From what I can tell by the end of the chapter, definitely looks like it's going to be a new chapter next week. What rating do I give this chapter? I give this one a 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. Good job, Bo. This was a really interesting chapter. The chapter kind of feels like something you see in one of the filler episodes. Just Luffy by himself without his crew, just hanging out with some new character. Usually this happens in filler episodes. Never happens in canon episodes, surprisingly. Yeah, I thought it was a little weird. But yeah, that's really it for this episode. So stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll probably have some Comic Corners coming up tomorrow. But aside from that, well, this week normally I would do another Tokyo Ghoul Re special, but here's kind of the thing. The series is over when it actually ended almost 2 weeks ago. So no new chapter for that. But the other thing new I probably would do this week, for manga-wise, is probably the newest chapter of Seven Deadly Sins when it comes out this week. Aside from that, that's really it. That's the only. That probably won't happen tomorrow. It'll probably happen Tuesdays when I do the next manga chapter review for Seven Deadly Sins. Hopefully, it's a lot better than the last chapter, which was basically a chapter where almost nothing happened. It was not very interesting at all. I hope that the next chapter does moves away from this, goes back to the main character, because focusing on the Seven of Lost was a terrible idea. Alright, so until I see you on next review, bye.